What's up everyone? Welcome to volume 66 of Rise. I'm happy to be back here in the walkthrough video with you. And today what we're going to be doing is going over just some of the details in this volume that are going to help you be successful going through this phase of the program. So don't worry if you're new that it's volume 66. We always set up every new phase to begin, or to be set up so that somebody brand new coming on can just start right up and have a great time, and somebody who has been on the program for a while can feel like they're making progress from the previous months. In a little bit, we're going to go over some of the exercises that you might see in the program that might be new to you, but before that, I just want to go over a couple housekeeping things just to make sure that you really understand how to utilize this program best. The first thing is going to be to make sure that you join the Facebook group. So if you're not in there yet, that's the place where you can ask questions about the program, you can post videos, ask for feedback, and it's a really supportive community. So it's called the Rise Group. You should have received a link to it in the email when you first joined. If you have any trouble finding it, you can ask our team by messaging in the app and they will direct you there. The next thing I want to mention is our cheat sheet. So now the last few volumes we've added a PDF document in the app that you can download and you can use as a sort of quick reference for the exercises that are in this volume. So if you don't always like to have your phone on you and scrolling through the app, this is a good way to just have that quick checklist. But I will say for week 1 of starting the program, you definitely want to use the app so that you can see all of the different options, the explanations behind why you might choose one exercise over the other. But this is a great way to go through weeks 2 through 4 if you just want to quickly check the box and not have to carry your phone. Another reminder is that when you are going through the workouts, everything is going to be set up in supersets. Aside from the warm-up, cool-down, and power development, every other exercise is paired as a superset. If you work out in a busy gym where you are worried about losing your spot on a piece of equipment or the superset just doesn't work for you for whatever reason, you can always split those up into straight sets. So instead of doing B1, B2, B1, B2, and alternating, you can do all 4 sets of B1 and then all 4 sets of B2. It's not going to mess up with your progress. It's not going to change anything about the results of the program. It's just a different way of doing it, and you can feel free to split them up that way. And the last thing before I hand it over to Jason is just going through the workout the first time. If you're new, the first time you're looking at each day, it might feel a little bit overwhelming. It might feel like a lot of text, a lot of information. We do that so that everybody who's joining can feel really confident and really make sure that they know why they're doing certain exercises. But if you don't like all the options, you don't like all the choices, you can always look at the exercise that has the arrow pointing to it, because that's going to be the default. That's the main exercise that we want you to do. And everything underneath it is going to be options if you don't have that equipment or if you have an injury or anything like that. So those are all additional options. Sometimes there are some sneaky, like advanced variations in there. So if you're somebody who's been on the program for a while, you might want to sneak a look at those. But if you're overwhelmed by all the text, by all means, feel free to just look at the arrowed exercise and go from there. All right, I think that is all I have for you today. I'm going to hand it over to Jason. He's going to go over the overall rationale behind this month's programming and some of the exercises and some details that might help you to be even more successful on volume 66.
All right, welcome to Rise volume 66. Now, if you were on Rise last month, I really hope that you recovered from those brutal 1.5 back squats or goblet squats, whichever variation you did. I would say that they're tied for me as the most burn and worst feeling lower body exercise I've done, but it's also produced the greatest results. I feel like my quads were pumped, feeling super strong. I felt like after doing 1.5s, I could do literally any other lower body exercise and it would pale in comparison so much that I could go up in weight, go up in reps, and feel totally fine. So even though it probably sucked in the moment, I think it yielded a great result. Now, as far as this volume goes, it's pretty much straightforward. It's gonna be your traditional Rise program. So a traditional Rise program has all the classic lifts, right? It's got squat, bench press, deadlift, lunge, push-up, pull-up, like all the staples that make up a sound, science-based program. And then we combine it with less conventional lifts. So in this program, you're gonna see things like lateral split jumps. You'll see stability ball stir the pots, lateral lunges off of a slider, lateral pogo hops, and that's just to name a few. We filmed 22 brand new exercises for this month's volume of Rise, and we always make sure to include some novelty within the program to make sure that it keeps the training process fun, really engaging, and it makes it so that you are also just mentally stimulated as well. You don't want to do a program that's just the same thing over and over and over again, because if you're not really buying into that, you'll eventually fall off because it gets too stale. And so we like to inject life into each and every program of Rise, each and every month, with less conventional lifts to keep your mind engaged, to keep it more fun, and so that it also explores different patterns. So you don't want to just do bilateral squats, bilateral deadlifts, bilateral pushing exercises. You also want to include single leg work, single arm work, rotation, multiplanar work, core work, all these things that make the program way more comprehensive, way more well-rounded than just doing the boring basics. Last month, we experimented pretty heavily with different rep ranges and different tempos. This month, we're gonna be a little bit more straightforward with the rep ranges. The only main thing that you wanna watch out for are there are gonna be a decent amount of drop sets. And so what a drop set entails is that you're gonna pick a certain weight for a particular exercise and you're gonna go to near failure. So let's say you're gonna do a bicep curl drop set. You'll get, let's say, 15 pounds. You're gonna do it 10 times. You get to near failure, then I want you to drop that down, lower the weight by 10 to 20%. So maybe you lower the weight and you grab 10-pound dumbbells, and then you go again right into the next set to failure. And so you're able to get quite a lot of volume in a real short amount of time, and you're also forcing your body to work under extreme fatigue. And that's gonna drive a lot of results, a lot of adaptation, and a lot of gains. And the last thing I wanna go over is that I reordered the program a little bit. I wasn't a huge fan of the way day 2 felt last month. I felt like it was too many lower body lifts on what should be a more upper body focused day. So I just took away some stuff. Like I took away the adductor lifts as the pre-ab exercise on B2, and I took away the hamstring exercise later in that session, and I moved them over to day A, and as a part of the warm-up as well. So it's not like we got rid of them, I just rearranged things a little bit. And there's little tweaks here and there throughout the entire program that I feel are gonna be more of a balanced change. Overall, it's gonna feel a little bit better. All right, so that's all I have for the rationale part of this walkthrough video. Now I'm gonna go over some of the exercises within the volume that I feel like need a little bit more explanation. All right, so day 1, segment A, I'm gonna go over stagger jumps, lateral step-up jumps, and contact lateral step-up jumps. All right, so a staggered jump is gonna be pretty straightforward. You're gonna be in this staggered stance. Most of your weight is gonna be on this stance leg here that's in front. You're gonna come down, jump up, and then land firmly, right? The lateral step-up jump, you're gonna step up onto something. So a bumper plate is great. You can be on an aerobic step, a regular stair step, any sort of elevated surface is great. I would say anywhere from 4 to 6 inches is probably gonna be sufficient. And from there, it's just gonna increase the range of motion a little bit. So you're here, you come down, jump up, and then back down. You're able to isolate that side even a little bit more because you're staggered and elevated. And then finally, the third variation that I would suggest for people that play field sports or athletics in general is gonna be a foot contact lateral step-up jump. All right, so what you're gonna do is actually drive down into the floor as you jump up into the air, or right before you jump up into the air. So it's gonna be like that. In athletics, you're rarely in a position where you are perfectly set and premeditated. There's a lot more times where you have to react to your foot contacting the ground, get up off of that position really quickly, and transition to a horizontal bound or more of a vertical jump, and that's what that move accomplishes. All right, so day 1, B2, we have a shorten to lengthen calf raise drop set. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab onto, let's say, the uprights of a squat rack. Maybe there's a barbell here. You can grab onto a doorway, even a pole. But basically, you're gonna be leaning back as you do the calf raise. So I'm gonna be right here, slight incline back. I'm going to extend up, squeeze my calves tight, come back down, all right? Do that really firmly there and come back down. If I want to, I can go even a little bit further back. And I would just pick the range of motion or the level of incline that feels the most beneficial for you before then transitioning to the lengthened position and moving on to more of a traditional calf raise exercise. And so right here is gonna be what's more of a lengthened position, right? At the very bottom, it's stretching out. And this is gonna be more of a shortened position where it's already in a slightly shortened state and you're trying to flex on top of it. So both are gonna be super important. One thing that I really want you to try to focus on, especially for the shortened one, where you're leaning back, is you're trying to really engage the Achilles, trying to really flex as much as possible in this area. Obviously, you're gonna feel calves as well, but really focus on the Achilles aspect as well. All right, so it's just gonna be really important to not only be able to flex from a lengthened traditional calf raise position, but also from a shortened position as well. And you've probably been seeing a lot of content these days on Instagram talking about shortened position, lengthened position. It's just important to be able to do both and make sure that you're covering both of those aspects. All right, so day 2, D1, we have the triceps pull down drop set. Now imagine that this is a rope handle. You're gonna be like this. You're gonna get, I forget the prescribed number of reps, but you're gonna get the prescribed number of reps, which is gonna be close to failure, if not reaching failure. Once you're done with your set, you're gonna go right back to where the weight stack is, or in this case with the tonal, where the screen is. I'm gonna drop down by about 10 to 20%, whatever feels good, and then go right into the next set. I'm right here, and then I just go to failure. But by lowering the weight, I'm able to eke out some more reps while under some pretty intense fatigue, and it just leads to a really powerful stimulus on my tricep muscles. And so for this and the bicep exercise later on, that's basically what you're gonna be doing. Start with the weight, drop it down, 10 to 20%, and then go at it again. All that, what I just did just now, is gonna be one set. For both of those exercises I just mentioned, they're gonna be 3 sets total. All right, the final exercise that I wanna go over quickly is gonna be day 3, the power exercise. So for this one, you have 2 options. You can either go off a 2-to-1 pogo hop or a single leg lateral pogo hop, all right? So basically for this, the initial one, you're gonna jump off of 2, land on 1, jump back to 2. So you're going back and forth, but you're basically reducing the load and producing the force off of 2 legs. So you're jumping here, then landing on 1. Coming back down 2, landing on 1. And then the next option, if you want, is going to be strictly from 1 leg. So 1 to 1. You're gonna be here, come up, and then back down. Back and forth like that. So choose the option that works best for you. I will say that the 1-to-1 is gonna be significantly more challenging. So I would say start from the 2-to-1, and that's gonna be a nice bridge. All right, so that's all I have for you for Volume 66. I really hope you enjoyed this program. I wanna wish you a happy new year. Here's to a great year of gains, and we're gonna be joining alongside right with you for Volume 66.